Okay, so it's 5:30 in the morning on April 2nd. I sleep right here, and the TV's there, and I usually sleep with the TV on if it's coming in. I turned it off now to make this video, but and I usually wake up in the middle of the night to go pee, right? Because I'm an old person. So I don't know if I was half in and out of sleep or I had just woken up exactly on the hour, but I only basically get NBC, right? So overnight they have news. They have overnight news, and I heard Francis Rivera say, you know, it makes the chimes for it's the top of the hour or half an hour or whatever, and I heard her say, "Oh, actor Val Kilmer has died at 65." And I'm laying there and I'm like, she said that. She said that. She definitely said that. And I just laid there. And, you know, it's funny, as I'm saying this, just in this moment, I'm remembering this a similar situation when Michael Hutchence died. But anyway, Val Kilmer's been my favorite actor since I was 10 years old. We went to see Top Secret in the theater. I don't know why my mother took me to see Top Secret. Because we didn't go to movies all the time. But, yeah. So he instantly, when I was 10, became my favorite actor. Probably because he was cute. But also he was really funny. But from then on in, I saw Top Gun in the theater. I saw Willow in the theater. I saw Tombstone in the theater. I mean, yeah, I got to see his entire filmography, basically the ones that went into the theater in the theater. I saw Heat 3 times. He wasn't a big hit at the time, if you would believe it. I lived in New York back then, and I went a few times, and I remember having to tell people to go see it. It had Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, but it was almost, I don't even know if it was like they were old news back then or whatever, but it was, you would imagine it was this big, huge event. No, it wasn't. I mean, it was in the theater, and I don't think it even did that one. I don't think people thought it was that amazing. I did at the time. It's one of those movies that got a bunch of accolades after. Same thing with Tombstone. I mean, there were always people like me who liked that sort of movie, and of course there were always people who liked Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell, those kind of guys who would have gone to see it, but these movies were not massive hits at the time. And that, after everything, Val with Twitter and film Twitter and, you know, things like Letterboxd and people being able to tell each other to like movies and stuff, that he got some fan appreciation in these last few years has been great, you know. But you know, as a film fan, as somebody who follows actors and their roles and what they're getting hired for, not hired for, there were points of time, especially in his heyday, where I would get aggravated with the press on him, and if he was difficult or whatever, who cared? You know, he was that type that what is it? Mediocrity will always attack excellence. What's the quote? There was that thing, you know, and it's weird that I'm suddenly speaking like a normal person, because I've been just sitting here pissed and angry and everything that happens in this life. I think about why did this happen? Why did that happen? Like a small child, maybe. I remember when Angelo Badalamenti died and David Lynch was like, I just don't understand why people have to die. You could be 1,000,000 years old and you could be totally about spiritual topics, and still sometimes you're just like, what is this? And like I said, when nobody else was saying it, I was like, Val Kilmer was my favorite actor. Val Kilmer was my favorite actor, and I always say that, and I'm proud to say it, because I know that means I have good taste. I know that means I know what I'm talking about, and I always did. Um, but now what do I say? When David Lynch died a little while ago, every once in a while I'm like, I always said my big three directors were Francis Ford Coppola, Woody Allen, and David Lynch. Well, what do I say now? I'm not going to take him off the list and put somebody else in. So what do I say? And now this morning I'm like, well, I just never say favorite actor again. I won't. But yeah, so when Val got sick, I was like, okay, people get sick and they get better and stuff like that. And I hoped he'd get better. Because his voice, I mean, you can't be an actor without being able to use your voice. And, but he didn't get better. And when he didn't get better right away, or in a couple years, I said, okay, this is becoming another. When Christopher Reeve died, I wasn't the biggest Christopher Reeve fan, but we all love Superman, right? Christopher Reeve also went to Juilliard. When he was injured like he was, I knew it that one day I'd be watching the Oscars or some other telecast and he'd walk out triumphant and present Best Picture, and I knew that was going to happen someday. It was going to be this miraculous thing, like I think Gloria Estefan had done something like that at the Grammys when she had been kind of almost paralyzed. So I was like, yeah, and and then Christopher Reeve just stayed paralyzed. He never got better. And I remember I used to, most of my film fandomness was online. Once I ended up back home, I didn't have people around me to talk to, so when I would I would go on the computer. Those days were so much better, honest to God, just a normal desktop computer and dial up or whatever. Anyway, I would go on the computer and talk about movies with other people. So I used to go on Ain't It Cool News and talkbacks, and I've said that before. My screen name was Cherry Valance, and I was there talking all the time. So the day that Christopher Reeve died, I remember going in the talkbacks, and I know that other people think I'm a crazy person, but maybe I am. But I remember my reaction being like, no, God's a jealous God. Because there was always the talk of a Superman curse, right? So I was like, okay, here he had this opportunity. God had an opportunity to really show people, well, if you believe and if you believe that you could come back and you can be healed. And if you try and you persevere and you keep going and you hang in there, he had the opportunity to do that by doing exactly what I said. Like I said, at that point I said God's a shitty screenwriter, but also he must be a jealous God, because why would you not do that? Why would you not take that opportunity to show people that, you can persevere, you can triumph over adversity. You can, Superman can fly again. The only reason to not do that is you didn't want Superman flying. You didn't want anybody threatening your... You don't want anybody appearing to have magic powers, even if it was just a movie. Even if it was just... We knew that wasn't Superman, but the idea of it, that, Superman can't walk. I think it was Chris Rock that kept saying that at the Oscars. Because it meant something. And this is the way I talk, the way I think about things, the way I am. It's because everything means something. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe. But these are the terms I think of all day, every day, from beginning to end. And so when Val wasn't getting better, I was like, okay, what did Val do to incur God's wrath? And then I said, oh, wait. He was a voice of God. in Prince of Egypt. If you watch Prince of Egypt, he does the voice of Moses. Ray Fiennes did Ramses. Sandra Bullock was Miriam, and Jeff Goldblum was, what was his name? What was his name? Aaron? Anyway, so Prince of Egypt. But then there's a point where Moses goes to Mount Sinai. And Val also did the voice of God. He was the voice coming out of the bush. It kind of looked like a, you know, but it's a great movie if you want to watch it. And as far as I know, Val was Christian Science. I don't know what happened at the end. I bought his book. Did I read? I can't read. And, you know, I can read. I read a little bit. I was following him on Twitter all this time. I was following him on Instagram, of course. And to have somebody be that spectacular and just that, I know Val was the best actor I've ever seen. And like I said, if he had been able to keep acting, I think everybody else would have known it too. But again, like I said, at some point people go out of favor, and especially in Hollywood, if you piss people off, if, you know, most of Hollywood is jealous bitches. That's why the man was never even nominated for an Oscar. And I knew at some point he was never going to get one if he wasn't getting better. So his greatest role, in my opinion, is The Doors. That year was The Silence of the Lambs. Anthony Hopkins won for, which would have been category for him, but he won for Silence of the Lambs. Anthony Hopkins and Val Kilmer both born on December 31st, so it was like his birthday buddy would, if I was gonna say here's the one Val Kilmer should win the Oscar for, I would have said The Doors. I know everybody else is in love with Tombstone. I love it too. I love that movie. I watched it a million times. I had a VHS of it. Probably still have it somewhere in this house. Love that movie. Absolutely. Doc Holliday dies and it's all poetic and shit. And Jim Morrison died, and it was sort of both the same thing of like looking up at the light. And I don't know. This is not the way I thought I was going to make this video, but this is what's coming to me right now. I don't know. I don't understand why we suffer. If God doesn't like anybody anymore, or he thinks that they're being arrogant or pride before the fall, all that shit, just, if you're done with people, just kill them. Why? I don't get the suffering. I don't get the punishment. I don't get forcing people to keep trying just so it can not turn out. I don't understand. So I'm mostly pissed. Like I said, I hate this world. I hate it. I wake up sometimes so disappointed that I woke up, because this world is shit. I don't want it. I've said that a million times over. Every day it gets worse. You hope it's gonna get better. You hope changes are going to be made that are going to benefit people, and I sit here and I stare at the Twitter and I watch the news. I'm completely aware of what's going on in this world every day, and I'm just like, it's just getting worse. It's like we're careening off a cliff. Why is this happening? And for that, like I said, it's almost like I would want to be happy for anybody who gets to leave this bullshit world, but it's not, no. It's not how it should be. It's not how it should have been for a long time. I actually thought maybe the world ended in 2012. And now I start to see videos about, did the world actually end? I saw one, did the world actually end in 1999? Which would actually make sense too, because I've called this century the evil century. I liked the world. No, I didn't like the world. It was okay. It was pretty good. All right, relatively speaking. You know, in the 20th century. This century has been absolute shit, and everything's wrong, and the bad guys win all the time. No talent people are in my face every day, and then look what happens to the truly gifted, beautiful, beautiful people. So, that's my question. Like, why does God make somebody gifted and wonderful, and then they're supposed to just be, it's like, but then you also want them to be meek, and if they're not meek, you're gonna smack them down, because again, pride before the fall or whatever. I just, these are the things I think about. And like I said, I'd like to feel like, well, the world's shit, so at least he doesn't have to put up with it. Or, oh, he was suffering. I don't know that he was suffering. I mean, it was horrible. If, you know, if you watch the Val documentary that he did, I mean, a lot of that was old footage and stuff like that. But, that he, I mean, all this time he's just been selling art, which is basically, you know, like, stuff of him as Doc Holliday and just this art stuff. And I assumed he was doing that to get by. Why should an actor who deserves the money, why should an actor who puts in the work, why should an actor who made that about their whole career, who does eventually become Batman, who has Batman money, who had a huge ranch in Buffalo and everything on it, why does somebody have to be brought low? I don't get it. I don't freaking understand. It's not like, I don't know. I just, he could have been happy as a clam a couple days ago. I don't know. He had his kids. He loved his kids. His son Jack had done the voiceover for some of that Val documentary, and you know, of course I feel bad for the kids and stuff like that. But like I said, there was a sort of an assumption that there was some kind of suffering there. So you would want to say, well, you know, maybe. But I don't know. This is what I'm saying. I'm pissed off, but I'm also just resigned to this world being garbage. And I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of it. And I felt like as he wasn't getting better, I mean, you know how a person might play when there's like $300 million or whatever the hell it was, you might play the Powerball and start to think what you're going to do with that money. I was always going to rescue people. I was going to fix Val. I was gonna force him to live in the Himalayas or something until he just healed. But you know, that's not how it works. You know, and I can't even, I'm over here cold. I can't tell you why my life is so stupid right now. It's so stupid. There's so many problems on top of problems. Do I have pains? Yeah. Am I suffering bad? No. I have to watch the news and try to be decent about my life when I see all the other horrible stuff going on. And there's so much horrible stuff going on in the world. Had this been 5 years ago, had this been 3 years ago, and my favorite actor had died, I would have been distraught. Right now, I'm just like, yeah, this is how things are. It's how fucking stupid everything is. It's not even random. I'd like to call it random. It's not that. It's not even Murphy's Law. If Murphy's Law was life's going to be as fucked up as it possibly can be, then yeah, that'd be accurate. But why? I don't think humans deserve it. I don't think Hitler deserved it. I don't think. Imagine who the worst person you can think of is. I don't think that person deserves to suffer. Because all it does is make people behave worse. I was a much better person years ago. Some people are wonderful. Maybe on his last day, Val was wonderful still. But, yeah, it just seems like par for the course. That's how my feeling. Par for the course. You know? And I used to dread hearing that my favorite people, whatever, whichever, my favorite music people, my favorite actor people, but the world is so, it's just like, yeah, this is how it is. Um, you know what movies to watch. If not, I think I've already made I'm not. My phone's in the other room charging. I don't. I think I've already made what do you call it? Playlist of Val Kilmer roles you should have watched. I think I already did. But yeah, there have been so many. I mean, he made those kind of. He, like I said, he never phoned it in. He made those kind of. You used to call them direct to video. I don't even know what you call them now. He was in some crap here and there, but he never phoned it in. Like I said, The Doors. There was a time where you thought movies were important, and it was something different about watching the new Oliver Stone movie starring Val Kilmer playing Jim Morrison. Do you understand how much talent I just said there? How much iconicness I just say in that sentence? Jim Morrison, one of the all-time icons, being played by the person I think is the best actor ever. One of the best directors ever. There was a time when that happened, you know, where that's what it was to be a movie fan. It wasn't like, oh, hearing that they're making John Wick 5 on April Fool's Day, and is it true or not, because it didn't seem like the star or the director really wanted to do it, or they're being forced to do it by the evil cabal that runs everything. Who knows? This is where we're at. This is why I'm so disenfranchised with everything, because what are movies anymore anyway? I go to them and I talk about how this one's great. Now, there are the people who still do a really good job, but it's not what it once was to hear about the latest movie and know this great actor is going to be in it. I think Denzel and Jake, or in Othello, I think I saw them doing, I guess it was opening night the other day. I'm pretty sure Denzel and Val at least got along well. I don't know if they were good friends. Why do I think there were more than one movie together? Well, they're both Capricorns anyway. But I feel like Val deserves so much more from Hollywood, from him. Because in the end, and this is what I think about the world, and that's why I kind of like, what am I doing here? It's about a bunch of jealous bitches. The world is about a bunch of jealous bitches. If you go out there, my phone's going off in the other room. Should I go shut it off? It's charging and the alarm's going on. Yeah. Wait a minute. So, I lost my train of thought, but I just went... Sunday I went to the gala, and Thursday I went to the men's short program of the World Championships in Boston for ice skating. I've been an ice skating fan since forever. And Ilya Malinin is just fantastic, right? And there's so many skaters that I love. Jason Brown, all of them. But, already looking online, I could see the jealous bitches. And it's like, this kid's, like, otherworldly in his talent. And, you know, there's something that I want to say I've never been jealous. I can't say that anymore. Over the last couple of years, going through a lot of stuff, I guess I envy people who got it right. Because I try to blame myself for my life. So then the people who had good mentors or good teachers, or they just found the right path somehow, I guess I envy people like that a little bit. But in terms of being jealous and having that kind of where you hate somebody for what they have or who they are, I've never understood that. And the longer I've lived, the more I see it in the world. So anytime anybody is fabulous, you see the people who are just jealous bitches. And like I said, Hollywood's been like that. That's why all the wrong people win Oscars. Because the Academy is full of jealous bitches. But that's why you think the guy running things might also be jealous. It's really, really terrible. But, and I know, just from me trying to be happy by going, I'm going to pay for it. Because I'm not allowed to be happy for half a second or acknowledge that I'm happy. The minute I think I'm happy, I'm like, oh my God, what have you done? You know, because then, and it's not the other shoe's going to drop. That giant Monty Python foot comes and squishes me every time. That's exactly how I see God. So, and this is how I think about everything. So I felt for a long time like Val was not going to get better, but I didn't know if he was just going to have to keep staying like that. If maybe someday he would get some kind of, you know, Roger Ebert had that computer thing where he couldn't, but he died too when he wasn't done. I've been done and I don't die. I think that's kind of how it works. You have to be hopeful and want to be alive in order to die. Yeah. But they don't make movies like they used to. They don't make movie stars like they used to. The whole world, this world is shit. Like I said, you can like, Nora was great, a good Best Picture winner for once. Of course I'm rooting for Wicked. You have outstanding performances like Ariana Grande, but it's not going to get acknowledged how extraordinary that is because, again, jealous bitches. Because she's already famous, because she already has everything, right? So people kind of act like, oh yeah, it was cute. No. I've always seen this incredibleness and people just like pretend ignore it. They can't look in it because it's like looking in the mirror and seeing that they're lacking. So every once in a while I come across a video. I came across a video of Val, you know, doing an interview with Charlie Rose, and when I see stuff like that, I just think back to those days and how you used to be able to be cool and awesome, and it wasn't bad, and the perfection that he was. And I just, this is what I'm saying, you're not a, it's like, I don't know, there's the, what do you call it, there's the idea that there are ebbs and flows in life, and there's a back and forth or ups and downs and waves or whatever. I'm saying it all wrong, you know what I mean. The idea that you're supposed to have good days and bad days, yeah, I can see that, but that's not what's been happening lately. It's like, if you're down, you stay down. There's a foot on your neck, a boot on your neck, you know. I don't know. The world is not, there's no more of those triumphs. Like I said, you don't see, things don't get set right. They stay bad and then they end. That's what it seems like the world is to me, and I hate to be like that, but I don't know what else to say. Like, my face has been crying, but I can't even really say that I feel like, I was heartbroken a long time ago by the situation. I was heartbroken that he wasn't getting better, and his voice, after a while I was like, I don't think his voice can recover. But we're stupidly programmed, like I said, to go the distance. We're programmed to think, well, someday, well, if we hang on, maybe this miraculous thing will happen, or there'll be some science thing, or who knows. But then it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. Things stay the same and then they end, or things get worse and then they end. And I don't understand it, because I think that, like I said, I don't think anybody should suffer. I don't think anybody should have to just relegate themselves to a lot less than they can be, a lot less than they were, for some reason. And all you can do is like look back on the good old days, which when the good old days were happening, you were probably thinking they were going to get better. You know, um, even without his illness, I was just hoping for his career to get, for him to swing back into getting into the upper echelon, because before he was sick, he was doing smaller roles and things like that. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was around because he had been doing that Mark Twain show that I didn't go see. Don't ask. I think I was sick. That's exactly what happened. I was sick first. And there's a strange parallel because I remember when I was little being like, oh my God, because my mom's name was Gladys and his mom's name was Gladys. And I found that out when I was little. And then both of our moms died the same year, like within months. But I was sick. I got sick in 2013. And I'd been tired all the time, and I had girl issues, so I wasn't really going anywhere. You know, I wasn't making plans to go anywhere. And I knew that, he was doing the Mark Twain tour thing, and it was in Boston. I just didn't feel like I could go, So it was during that, around that, where I think his voice started to go. But at that point, I had been hoping for him to just go back to doing big roles in movies. And then this is what happens. I don't understand this world. I don't get what God is doing. I will put in a million grievances. I don't care. He's smacking me all the time anyway. I'm not going to... What? He knows what I'm thinking. He knows what's written on my heart. If I'm evil, I'm evil. But I'm sick of it, and I'm tired of this, When I got sick and I woke up, I was like, the hell? Because I was already done with the world. I was sick of everything. Robin Williams had died. Those evil terrorists were cutting people's heads off right before I got sick and was in a coma. What did I have to wake up for? Just to go through more shit and eventually die. Why though? If you're not gonna give us that triumphant, if you're not gonna give us that what do you call comeback? Why keep us alive? Okay, we're sick. Kill us when we're sick. Why string us along? Why keep us going for no good reason? I don't understand. Val Kilmer's the greatest actor ever. If you don't know that, you're an idiot. Like I said, The Doors is my favorite. I wanted to say more obscure movies. I made a list on Twitter. I made a whole rant tweet about how, I didn't get verified or whatever, so I had to make a thread of him. But yeah, I made a list. I forgot to put Willow on my short list, but yeah, The Doors. A lot of younger folks haven't seen The Doors for some reason. To me, that's like his best performance, and I love Top Secret. I will always love Top Secret. Nick Rivers. I mean, that's everything. I think that movie's everything. The movie is in my top 10 of all time. I think that movie is everything. That Val could do that. That was like one, if not his first role, one of either that or Real Genius. They're kind of like in the same, like within a year, I think. But Top Secret, that he was able to do all that. He had to sing and dance and be hilarious and dead serious. Like he was a straight man and goofy funny. I don't even know how to explain that. But that they had to do that whole underwater fight scene. I mean, if a movie had one of those things now, people would find it amazing. But yeah, so Tombstone most people have seen somehow. I don't know how. But yeah, for years and years and years I was just by myself going, Val Kilmer, Val Kilmer. I'm glad that he got to know that people saw how extraordinary he is. I think he did. You know, and watching Top Gun Maverick again, I sat in that theater and I was just like, you know, I was glad that they did that. I was glad that Tom Cruise and Jerry Bruckheimer did that, because for when they started talking about the film and doing a new Top Gun movie, I was afraid they were going to exclude him just like everybody else, and they didn't. And over the years, Tom Cruise has really proven to be a really great person. Um, I know that at one point when Val got very sick, he had been staying at Cher's house. They used to go out back in the day. So that she was still friends with him, and I'm more sad for other people being sad, because like I said, for me this world is crap, and I can't get the idea out of my head that when people get to leave it, it's kind of like they got a golden ticket almost. But still, I wish he had a, I wish that everybody would get a comeback and everybody would get to triumph. I don't know why God is so mean and nasty, but he is. And I'm calling him out, and I'm always going to call him out just like I call out everybody else. But yeah, I don't know. I could be blaming God, and it could be the evil cabal. I don't know. I really don't know. But I don't see the triumphs. I don't see the comebacks. I don't feel like I'm ever going to have a comeback if I was just as a person. I know I'm not famous, but you know what I mean. Just like my teeth are rotting out of my head. If you see, I don't know if you can see this little white thing here. That's because either a filling fell out or it's just a new hole in my tooth. So I put that fake filling stuff. I tried to go to the dentist. I hate going to the doctor. But still, you have to go sometime. And now that's a struggle. You're like constantly fighting to get something you don't even want. That's what life is now. It's like, what are we even doing here? I'm sure there's people out there. I'm sure they're enjoying their life. It doesn't look that way to me. Life looks like a real pain in the ass all the time until you die. That's why I'm sad in a way. I mean, my face is crying. But I'm just like, of course this happened. Of course. Par for the course. Of course this happened. I used to think there was a poetry to, like romanticized tragic stories, and it's just shit for no reason. If there's a reason, I do not find it, because I don't see the what is the struggle is real, as the kids say, but I don't see the virtue in it anymore. I don't see the reward in just hanging on anymore and saying, well, I hung in there and good for me, or I don't get it anymore. And the David Lynch thing shocked me. It's funny, he was an older guy. I knew he had emphysema. That shocked me. This, I just felt like, with Val, I just felt like God was not giving him a second wind here. He was not. And it was like that for a while. And it's just like, why are you doing this? What? You know what I mean? I don't know. And I know that sounds horrible to anybody. And I'm sure he did not think this way at all. I'm 100% certain that he probably had all kinds of faith. And I do not. I'm just a pissed off individual who is sick of the shit. And I didn't anticipate him being in anything in the near future anyway. So in that way, I don't feel bad about any like movies he was gonna make or something, because I didn't feel like they were coming. Um, so I think that's why I feel kind of like, like oh no, he was cut down in with so much more left on the table, or oh, he was only 65. He was only 65, but he's been sick this whole time. Or even if he's not actively sick, he was, you know what I mean? He had this shit he had to deal with every day. If you're not gonna heal people, just kill them in the first place. Why? I don't understand making people suffer and then killing it. I don't get it. I don't. Why though? There are bad people doing bad things, real bad things, not just being conceited or whatever the hell was supposed to be wrong with him. I don't know. I'm never gonna understand this world, and I don't even care to anymore. My favorite actor died, but he's still my favorite actor. But I won't say favorite actor anymore about anybody else. That's never going to happen. I have other actors. They're not taking his place. And nobody's taking David Lynch's place. This world is just so... Do I hate the world? Yes. Did I hate it yesterday? Yes. Did I hate it before? Last year? Yes. And they hated me first. It hates some of us. I don't know. I just wish that people... I like I said, I've already made a list of movies to watch. What else can I talk about? Duran Duran, my favorite group. And at one point, Duran Duran did the theme song for a Val Kilmer movie. It should have been the greatest thing ever, right? The Saint? It wasn't. And that's when I did see Val in real life outside of Letterman. I went... at the backstage door. I almost jumped in his limo just by being weird. Like, not even like not jump in it, but I just realized the guy pushed me back. I didn't realize I was getting that close because I just kind of floated. I wasn't fat back then, by the way. But yeah. What was that? 96, 97, somewhere in there. I don't remember what year that was. I didn't like that song. I didn't like that movie. And those are all my favorite people. Alexander, Salton Sea, Spartan, The Ghost in the Darkness. I wrote a whole list. The one he did with Nicolas Cage, Bad Lieutenant Protocol. That was pretty good. He worked with a lot of people, who worked with a lot of other Capricorns, and I don't think he got along with Jim Carrey. As far as I know, on Batman Forever. That was Forever, right? Yeah. I think he was a piece of work. I think maybe he, had a certain attitude. If you're great, why shouldn't you? That's why I talk about greatness. If great people are supposed to not know they're great, I don't know. But, so it could be that just so many people hated them that it forms a huge curse. And it's not God at all. God's just doing something else. And it's just all the jealous bitches, all that hatred attacks you. And that's what happens. And that's why things are unfortunate. Because people just hate your guts. They hate you because they ain't you. I don't know. Ed Mardigan. I know I'm forgetting things, but... I wish I'd gone to see the Mark Twain thing. But I don't like Mark Twain. When I'm a fan, I literally love these people. I love David Lynch and I love Val Kilmer. So when they go through it, I go through it. If they have a problem with the studio, or somebody cancels their shit, or they won't fund their Netflix series, or whatever. That's the stuff that gets me. It's not just, oh, I used to like that guy in the movie 20 years ago. Oh, I heard he died. I'm so sad. I don't even understand that. You know, if I could have excelled at something, if I was a master of something, it's being a fan. You know, so I don't even know what to think, but I know that I kind of don't even, it's like I said, it's not I feel numb, it's just this was going to happen, because the opposite wasn't happening. He wasn't getting a resurgence. He wasn't, none of that was happening, and he deserved that more than 10 years ago. He deserved to be on top. He deserved to be talked about as the GOAT, because he is. He just didn't have enough opportunity later in life because of the circumstances, and that pisses me off. But Val Kilmer was always going to be my favorite actor.